During the Great Depression, American families survived years of economic collapse on almost nothing. They figured out 8 foods that delivered maximum calories and maximum nutrition at minimum cost, not from a survival blog, but from necessity. Those 8 staples are almost completely absent from modern prepper pantries today. I want you to count how many you actually have as I go through this list. Most people who consider themselves prepared will land at 2 or fewer. Before I get into the list, one thing worth saying: these are not novelty items. Each of these 8 foods was a genuine survival mechanism used by families who had no fallback. The goal today is not to romanticize the Depression. It is to extract what actually worked and put it into a pantry that is ready for what is coming. Starting with number 8. Yellow cornmeal. At Walmart, a 5-pound bag of great value yellow cornmeal costs $2.98. Depression-era families went through 20-pound bags of this per month, and not just for cornbread. The detail that no prepper channel covers is this: cornmeal mixed with bone broth or salted water makes a protein-dense porridge that was the single most calorie-efficient meal produced with minimal cooking fuel throughout the 1930s. 1 cup of dry cornmeal feeds 2 people a full day of baseline calories. Sealed in a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber, which we covered in the Pantry Gaps video, it stores for up to 10 years. Open bag lasts 30 days. The 5-pound bag at Walmart today will sustain a 4-person household for an entire week in a genuine calorie restriction scenario. Price per serving, 4 cents. 7. Rolled oats. A 42-ounce canister of great value rolled oats costs $3.78. Depression families did not eat oatmeal because they liked it. They ate it because a half cup of dry oats contains 190 calories, cooks in under 4 minutes with any heat source, and requires almost no fuel, which during a grid-down scenario is worth more than the food itself. Here is the angle that most lists miss: oat water. Soak a 1/4 cup of oats in 1 cup of cold water overnight. The result is a milky liquid that substitutes for dairy in any recipe. No refrigeration, no cost. In our Pantry Gaps video, I covered dry whole milk powder at $13. Oat water costs you roughly 8 cents per cup to produce from this canister. Sealed rolled oats last 2 years minimum. Open canister, 90 days. 6. Canned mackerel in oil. Great value canned mackerel in oil. 15 ounces, $2.28. Higher protein than canned chicken, more omega-3 fatty acids than canned salmon, and a shelf life on an unopened can of 4 to 6 years, not the 2 years printed on the label. Most preppers ignore mackerel because it does not look appealing. That is an advantage. If you shop during a crisis, the mackerel aisle will still be full while the tuna section empties within 20 minutes. The hidden use: the oil in the can burns. A mackerel tin with a strip of cotton t-shirt as a wick is a functional improvised oil lamp that burns 3 to 4 hours per tin. Your emergency food storage just became your emergency light source. But what comes next has an emergency use that Depression families figured out and that most preppers have never heard of. 5. Dried red lentils. 1 pound of great value dried red lentils costs $2.28 and contains roughly 900 calories and 40 grams of protein. If you watched our canned foods video, you know dried beans made that list. Here is what did not get covered there: cooking time. Dried black beans and chickpeas need 90 minutes of boiling to become edible. Red lentils cook fully in 25 minutes. In a grid-down scenario where you are burning propane or wood fuel, that difference is not a detail, it is 3 times the fuel cost per meal. Red lentils are the fuel-efficient version of the same calories. Depression families knew this. Modern prepper lists almost never distinguish between lentil varieties. This one distinction could be the difference between a 2-week fuel supply and a 6-week fuel supply. 4. Blackstrap molasses. A 12-ounce bottle of great value blackstrap molasses costs $3.97. Here is what makes it irreplaceable in a long-term crisis: it does not expire. Unlike honey, which crystallizes, blackstrap molasses stays liquid indefinitely in a sealed container. 1 tablespoon contains 200 milligrams of calcium, 300 milligrams of potassium, and significant iron, the mineral most people in prolonged food restriction run deficient on first, before they run deficient on protein or calories. Depression families used molasses as a mineral supplement long before supplement capsules existed. In a grid-down situation where multivitamins run out in the first month, one 12-ounce bottle of blackstrap molasses extends your mineral intake for 60 to 90 days. Price per day at that usage rate, roughly 6 cents. 3. Baking soda. A 4-pound box of Arm & Hammer baking soda at Walmart costs $2.96. You know what it does in baking. Here is what you probably do not know. Baking soda mixed with water creates an alkaline solution that was used as a field wound wash during both World Wars. It neutralizes acidic bacterial waste, which is the environment infections need to thrive. A half teaspoon dissolved in 8 ounces of water creates an oral rehydration aid that helps manage dehydration during illness. It works as an antacid, a heat rash treatment, and a fire suppressant on small grease fires. Depression families kept a 4-pound box per season. Not for baking, but because it was the closest thing they had to a pharmacy. Drop your running total in the comments. How many of these 8 are you tracking so far? But what comes next on this list is the reason Depression families had food when everyone around them did not. 2. Powdered whole eggs. An 8-ounce canister of powdered whole eggs at Walmart runs approximately $8.97. The distinction that matters: whole eggs, not egg whites. Whole powdered eggs contain the yolk, which carries the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, and the calories that make eggs actually sustaining. You reconstitute them at 1 tablespoon of powder plus 2 tablespoons of water per egg. The 8-ounce canister contains the equivalent of 24 to 28 full eggs. Unlike fresh eggs that disappear the moment your refrigerator fails, powdered whole eggs store at room temperature for 5 years sealed. Depression-era families dried eggs during surplus seasons and stored them through scarcity. Modern prepper lists rarely distinguish between whole and white-only powdered eggs. That distinction is the entire point of this item. 1. Beef tallow. A 14-ounce jar of rendered beef tallow runs approximately $7.88 at Walmart. Epic brand at some locations, great value at others. This is the most overlooked fat in any prepper pantry, and it was the single most important food source for Depression-era and frontier families in American history. Here is what most channels will not tell you. Cooking oils freeze. Vegetable oil thickens below 40 degrees. Coconut oil solidifies below 76. In an unheated home during a winter grid-down scenario, every oil in your pantry becomes unusable. But beef tallow stays liquid and functional down to -40 degrees Fahrenheit. Its smoke point is 420 degrees, higher than most cooking oils. It stores 3 to 5 years at room temperature without refrigeration. Depression and frontier families ran on this before seed oils existed. It is the reason their stored food lasted through winters that would empty a modern pantry in 30 days. Now, your final count. Drop it in the comments. 0 to 8. I want to know where you are starting from, and I will tell you which ones to grab first. Total cost for all 8. $35.10 at Walmart. 8 Depression-era staples that provided the caloric and nutritional foundation for families who survived 10 years of economic collapse. These items fill the gaps that neither the $75 starter kit nor the 20 canned foods list addressed. They are the caloric infrastructure underneath everything else. If you want the complete 90-day stockpile checklist that includes all 8 alongside everything else covered on this channel, that is in the description. And if you want to see 9 items at Dollar Tree that cover everything from wound care to field navigation for $11.25 total, that video goes up tomorrow on this channel. The best time to prepare was last year. The second best time is right now.